Every night your brain accomplishes something extraordinary. While your body rests in silence, your mind enters a realm of infinite possibility. You are dreaming right now. Not tomorrow night, not sometimes. Right now, in this very moment of your existence, you are dreaming every single night, whether you remember it or not. Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe slowly. Feel the weight of your body settling into stillness. This sensation you feel right now, this is the gateway to understanding something that has puzzled humanity for thousands of years. The question is not whether you dream. The question is why you forget. Most people believe they are not dreamers. They wake in the morning and think their night was empty, a void of unconsciousness, a gap in time between sleep and waking. But this belief is an illusion. Neuroscience reveals a profound truth hidden beneath this illusion. Your brain never stops creating. Your unconscious mind is working overtime while you sleep, generating entire worlds, narratives, emotions, and experiences that vanish like morning mist the moment your eyes open. Before we journey deeper into this invisible universe within you, I invite you to subscribe to the Relaxing Science channel. Give this video a like and share in the comments below where you are listening from and what time it is there. Your presence here matters. Your curiosity is what keeps this exploration alive. Now let us begin. Imagine a place where time dissolves, where logic bends, where you can fly without wings, speak without words, and live 1,000 lives in a single night. This place exists. It exists inside your brain in a state called REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement. It is a stage of sleep where your eyes move back and forth beneath your closed eyelids, like someone watching an invisible film. And you are both the filmmaker and the audience. Your sleep is not one long, continuous darkness. It is a rhythm, a cycle. Every 90 minutes, your brain enters a new phase. Your body relaxes. Your mind awakens. This cycle repeats throughout the night, creating a symphony of biological activity that most people never witness because they are sleeping through it. In the first cycle of the night, your dreams are short and simple, perhaps a few minutes long. But as the night progresses, something remarkable happens. The later cycles grow longer. By the time you wake in the morning, your final dream might have lasted 30 minutes or more. You might have experienced 4, 5, or even 6 complete dreams. Yet, when you wake, you remember almost nothing. This is the paradox that has fascinated sleep scientists for decades. How can your brain create such vivid, complex experiences, and then erase them so completely that you believe you never dreamed at all? The answer lies in chemistry, specifically in a molecule called norepinephrine. This is a neurotransmitter, a chemical messenger in your brain. During waking hours, norepinephrine flows freely through your brain, helping you focus, remember, and stay alert. It is the chemical of consciousness. It is the chemical of memory. But when you enter REM sleep, something extraordinary happens. The neurons that produce norepinephrine simply stop firing. They go silent. Your brain deliberately shuts down the very chemical system that would allow you to remember what is happening. It is as if your brain is saying, experience this moment fully, but do not hold on to it. Live in this dream completely, but do not carry it with you when you wake. This is not a flaw in your brain. This is a feature. This is intelligence. Without this biological amnesia, you would wake each morning drowning in memories of dreams. You would struggle to distinguish between what actually happened and what you imagined. The boundary between dream and reality would blur. Your mind would be fragmented, scattered, confused. Instead, your brain has evolved a sophisticated system. Create the dreams, experience them fully, but release them when morning comes. Yet this is only part of the mystery. Why does your brain create these dreams in the first place? What is the purpose? What is your brain actually doing during those 90-minute cycles? The answer is profound. Your brain is not resting. It is working. It is processing. It is integrating. During REM sleep, your brain is taking the experiences of the day, the conversations you had, the problems you encountered, the emotions you felt, and weaving them into the fabric of your long-term memory. It is solving problems you did not even know you had. It is making connections between ideas that seemed unrelated. It is consolidating learning. Your dreams are your brain's way of talking to itself. Think of it like this. During the day, your brain collects information like a river collecting water from 1,000 tributaries. At night, during REM sleep, your brain sorts this water. It filters it. It channels it into the deep reservoirs of memory where it becomes part of who you are. The dreams you do not remember are the mechanism by which you become yourself. Every person in the world experiences this. The billionaire and the child, the scientist and the artist, the person who remembers their dreams vividly, and the person who swears they never dream at all. Everyone dreams. Everyone forgets. This is the rhythm of the human brain, the ancient cycle that has been happening since the first humans closed their eyes in sleep. Your brain is never truly at rest. Even now, as you listen to these words, as your body begins to feel heavier and your mind begins to drift, your brain is preparing for tonight. It is preparing for the dreams you will not remember. It is preparing for the work that will happen in silence and darkness. This is the beginning of our exploration. We are standing at the threshold of understanding why your mind creates these invisible worlds, why your brain forgets them, and what this means for who you are and how you think. Let your breathing slow. Feel your shoulders relax. The journey continues now, deeper into the science of forgetting. As we discovered, your brain enters those mysterious 90-minute cycles every single night. But here's where the story deepens. The moment you wake, something extraordinary happens. Your memory of those dreams vanishes almost instantly. This isn't random, this is neuroscience at work. Let's understand why forgetting is actually a sign of healthy brain function. When you sleep, your brain operates under completely different chemical conditions than when you're awake. Think of it like switching from day mode to night mode on your phone. Everything changes. The chemical that controls memory formation during waking hours is called norepinephrine. This molecule is your brain's memory anchor. It helps cement experiences into long-term storage. But during REM sleep, that's when your most vivid dreams occur. Norepinephrine drops to nearly zero. Imagine a river suddenly running dry. Without this chemical, your brain cannot form new memories the way it does during daylight hours. Your dreams are happening. Your mind is working intensely. But the biological infrastructure for remembering them simply isn't there. This is the first key to understanding morning amnesia. Researchers at the University of California discovered something fascinating through brain imaging studies. They watched what happens inside the sleeping brain during REM cycles. The visual cortex lights up like a city at night. The emotional centers activate intensely. The prefrontal cortex, your logical, rational mind, goes quiet. Your brain is creating entire worlds, emotions, and narratives. Yet simultaneously, the chemical responsible for encoding these experiences into memory is almost completely absent. It's like watching a concert with the volume turned off. The performance is happening, the energy is real, but you're not recording it. Scientists call this the paradox of REM sleep. Your brain is more active during dreaming than during many waking moments, yet you retain almost nothing. This seems like a design flaw, but it isn't. It's precision engineering. Here's what researchers have learned through decades of sleep studies. The forgetting of dreams serves a purpose. When volunteers are awakened during REM sleep, right in the middle of a dream, they can recall the experience vividly. The dream is there. The memory is there. But the moment sleep continues naturally and you wake up on your own, that memory dissolves like morning mist. This tells us something profound. Your brain is deliberately choosing not to store dream memories in the same way it stores waking memories. This is selective amnesia. Your unconscious mind is saying, this information is useful for processing, but not for conscious recall. Think about what your brain accomplishes during those dreams. Memory consolidation happens, emotional regulation occurs, problem solving takes place in the background. Your brain is filing away the day's experiences, sorting them, integrating them into your knowledge base. The dream is the process. The forgetting is the feature, not the bug. Neuroscientist Matthew Walker, who has spent his career studying sleep, explains that dreams might be your brain's way of processing without distraction. While you dream, your brain is working on deep integration tasks. It's connecting new information to old knowledge. It's rehearsing emotional responses. It's running simulations. All of this happens best when your conscious mind is offline, when your logical brain isn't interfering. The forgetting ensures that you don't wake up confused by surreal narratives. Imagine if you remembered every dream with perfect clarity. You'd wake up believing you'd lived multiple alternative lives. The boundaries between dream and reality would blur. Your mind would struggle to distinguish between what actually happened and what your brain simulated during sleep. Instead, you wake up with a feeling, a mood, a subtle sense of having processed something important. You might retain a fragment, a face, a color, an emotion, but the full narrative is gone, and that's exactly what your brain intended. This forgetting mechanism is so reliable that most people believe they don't dream at all. They say, "I never remember my dreams." But laboratory evidence is clear. Everyone dreams multiple times every night. The forgetting is universal. It's not a memory problem. It's a memory management system. Recent studies using electroencephalography, devices that measure brain waves during sleep, show that the brain's electrical patterns during REM are remarkably similar to patterns during waking consciousness. Your brain is fully engaged. The difference is that the chemical messenger responsible for memory consolidation in waking life is absent. So the experience, however intense, doesn't stick. This is why sleep researchers can predict with stunning accuracy that you're dreaming, even though you won't remember it. They see the telltale signs, rapid eye movements, specific brain wave patterns, muscle atonia, temporary paralysis that prevents you from acting out your dreams. All the markers of dreaming are there. The memory isn't. Understanding this changes how you think about sleep. Your dreams aren't failures of memory, they're successes of processing. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do: work on problems, integrate experiences, and regulate emotions, all while keeping your conscious mind free from distraction. The forgetting is intelligent, it's protective, it's necessary. As you lie in bed tonight, knowing that your brain will dream multiple times, knowing that you probably won't remember, you can find comfort in this truth. The forgetting doesn't mean the work isn't happening. Your unconscious mind is still there, still processing, still growing. The dreams you won't remember are still shaping who you are. This is the hidden intelligence of sleep. This is why forgetting, paradoxically, is a sign that everything is working perfectly. Your sleep is not a single continuous state. It is an architecture, a building with distinct floors, each serving a different purpose. And understanding this structure is the key to understanding why your dreams vanish like morning mist. When you close your eyes tonight, your brain will embark on a journey that repeats itself over and over throughout the entire night. This journey follows a rhythm, a pattern so consistent that scientists can predict it with remarkable precision. Every 90 minutes, your brain completes one full cycle, one complete journey through the stages of sleep. Think of it like a spiral staircase descending into deeper waters. You begin at the top, conscious and aware. Then, gradually, you descend. Down, down, down into lighter sleep. Then deeper, and deeper still, until you reach the bottom of the spiral, the deepest, most restorative place. Then, unexpectedly, you begin to rise again. You climb back up the stairs. And at the very top of this cycle, something remarkable happens. Your eyes begin to move rapidly beneath closed eyelids. Your muscles relax completely, and your mind enters the realm where dreams are born. This is the 90-minute cycle, and it is the foundation of everything we have already discovered. In the first part of your night, when you first lay down, your brain moves through what scientists call the lighter stages of non-REM sleep. These are stages 1 and 2. During these moments, your brain is beginning to disconnect from the external world. Sounds become distant. The awareness of your body fades. Your breathing becomes rhythmic, steady. Your heart rate slows. This is the gateway, the threshold between waking and sleeping. But you do not stay here long. Within minutes, you sink deeper, into stage 3, into what is sometimes called slow-wave sleep or deep sleep. This is where the magic of physical restoration truly begins. Here, your body releases growth hormone. Your muscles repair themselves. Your immune system strengthens. The slow waves of your brain, those massive electrical pulses we can measure with machines, dominate the landscape of your mind. This is the foundation of why you feel rested, why your body feels restored. And then, after perhaps 30 to 40 minutes in this deep place, something shifts. Your brain begins to rise. The slow waves fade. Your sleep becomes lighter again. And then, about 60 to 70 minutes after you first closed your eyes, something extraordinary happens. Your brain enters a state that is utterly unique, a state so different from waking that it seems like an entirely different reality. This is REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, and this is where dreams are born. During REM, your brain becomes almost as active as when you are awake. In fact, certain regions of your brain are more active during REM than they are during waking hours. Your visual cortex, the part that processes images, blazes with activity. Your emotional centers light up. Your memory regions engage in a kind of conversation with each other. But remember what we discovered before. Norepinephrine, that crucial chemical that allows you to remember things, has vanished. It has been deliberately shut down. So your brain is working at full intensity, creating vivid experiences, processing emotions, consolidating memories. But you will not remember any of it. This first REM period typically lasts only 10 to 15 minutes. Brief, intense, fleeting. And then the cycle begins again. You descend once more through the stages, down into deep sleep, up again toward the surface, and another REM period arrives. This time, it lasts a bit longer, perhaps 20 minutes, then 30. As the night progresses, something remarkable happens. Each successive REM period grows longer. Each one becomes richer, more intense, more vivid. By the time you reach your final REM period, just before you wake, it might last 45 minutes or more. A long, deep journey into the dream world. This is why the dreams people sometimes remember are often the ones from the very end of the night. They are fresher, they are longer, they are closer to waking. And sometimes if you wake during one of these final REM periods, you might actually catch a fragment of the dream before norepinephrine fully returns and erases it. But here is what is truly astonishing. You will have 4, 5, or even 6 of these complete 90-minute cycles every single night, 4 to 6 separate journeys, 4 to 6 REM periods, 4 to 6 dreams, all of them forgotten, all of them essential. The architecture of sleep is not random, it is not a flaw, it is exquisitely designed. The balance between deep sleep and REM sleep, between restoration and processing, between memory consolidation and conscious forgetting, creates a system of extraordinary sophistication. Your brain knows exactly what it is doing, and as you lie there tonight, moving through these cycles, your mind will be working on problems you have not yet solved. It will be organizing memories you collected during the day. It will be processing emotions you experienced. It will be creating neural connections that will make you smarter, more creative, more emotionally balanced. All while you sleep, all while you forget. This is the rhythm of human sleep. This is the 90-minute spiral that descends and rises again and again throughout every night of your life. Understanding this structure helps us understand not just why we forget our dreams, but why we need them so deeply. Why sleep itself is not a pause in life, but one of the most active, essential periods of existence. Let me ask you something as we continue. Have you ever noticed that on nights when you sleep longer, you sometimes catch fragments of dreams? What do you think is happening in those final moments before waking? Now that you understand how your sleep cycles build and repeat through the night, let's explore what happens inside your brain during those precious moments when dreams are born. This is where the real magic unfolds, the stage where your mind becomes most alive, most creative, most vulnerable. Imagine your brain as a vast theater. For most of the night, the curtain remains half closed, but when REM sleep arrives, the lights ignite. The stage floods with activity. This is rapid eye movement sleep, and it's the only time your brain generates the vivid, narrative-driven experiences we call dreams. During REM, your brain waves look almost identical to waking patterns. If you were to measure brain activity alone, you might think the person is awake, yet the body remains paralyzed. The eyes dart back and forth beneath closed lids. The heart rate rises. Body temperature fluctuates. Everything about REM sleep contradicts rest, yet this is when your mind accomplishes some of its most profound work. The brain stem, that ancient structure at the base of your skull, orchestrates this entire state. It sends signals that essentially disconnect your muscles from your conscious control. This paralysis is not a bug in the system. It's a feature. Without it, you would act out your dreams. You would flail, run, fight, or fall from your bed. The paralysis protects you while your mind explores impossible worlds. During REM sleep, your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logic, planning, and rational thought, dims considerably. Meanwhile, your limbic system blazes with activity. This is the emotional center of your brain, the part that feels, remembers, and creates meaning. It's why dreams feel so emotionally intense, so vivid, so real in the moment. The visual cortex lights up as if you're watching a film. Yet no external light enters your eyes. Your brain is generating entire worlds from within. Mountains appear, faces emerge, colors shift. Impossible physics becomes normal. A friend transforms into a stranger. You're flying, then suddenly falling. The narrative logic of waking life dissolves, replaced by dream logic, fluid, associative, symbolic. This is where memory consolidation happens. Your brain isn't simply replaying the day. It's processing. It's integrating new information with old memories. It's solving problems you consciously struggled with. A musician dreams about a difficult passage and wakes with new understanding. A mathematician dreams in equations and awakens with insight. The dream isn't the solution itself. It's the process of your brain reorganizing knowledge. Emotions get processed here too. That argument you had, the excitement of good news, the anxiety about tomorrow. During REM sleep, your brain reviews these emotional experiences, filing them away with appropriate emotional weight. This is why sleep is called the best therapy. Your brain is literally processing feelings, making sense of them, integrating them into your emotional memory. Your brain also does something remarkable during REM sleep. It consolidates procedural memory. This is how you learn skills. A child learning to ride a bicycle, a surgeon perfecting a technique, a musician mastering an instrument. The practice happens awake, but the learning, the actual encoding into muscle memory and motor patterns, happens during REM sleep. Your brain rehearses these movements in the dream state, strengthening neural pathways. The neurotransmitter balance during REM sleep is unique. Serotonin levels drop. Dopamine surges in some regions. Acetylcholine floods the cortex. This chemical cocktail creates the conditions for creative thinking, for unusual associations, for the kind of mental flexibility that doesn't occur during waking hours. It's why dreams feel so different from thought. Your brain is literally operating under different chemical rules. As REM periods lengthen toward morning, your dreams become longer and more complex. The first REM period of the night might last only 10 minutes. By the fourth or fifth cycle, REM can stretch for 30, 40, even 50 minutes. This is why the dreams you might vaguely remember are usually from late in the night. They've had more time to develop, more neural activity to generate stronger traces. Yet here's the paradox that makes sleep so elegant. While all this incredible processing occurs, while your brain works at near-waking intensity, you forget. The moment you wake, most dreams vanish. You might catch a fragment, a feeling lingers, but the narrative, the details, the vividness, gone. This isn't failure. This is by design. Your brain has calculated that remembering every dream would be overwhelming. It would clutter your waking mind with thousands of hours of surreal content. Instead, your brain keeps what matters: the emotional processing, the memory consolidation, the problem solving, while discarding the narrative wrapper. You get the benefit without the burden. This is the intelligence of sleep. REM sleep is not a time when your brain rests. It's a time when your brain transforms. It processes emotion, consolidates memory, solves problems, rehearses skills, and explores the creative possibilities that waking logic prevents. And it does all this while keeping you safe, comfortable, and amnesic. The stage where dreams are born is not a place of chaos. It's a place of profound organization. Your brain knows exactly what it's doing. Every night, multiple times, REM sleep arrives, and your mind becomes a laboratory of transformation. You dream, you process, you grow, and then you forget, perfectly, precisely, as intended. Your brain right now is a chemistry laboratory. Every thought you have, every emotion you feel, every memory that sticks with you, all of it depends on invisible messengers flowing through your mind. These are neurotransmitters, and during sleep, especially during REM, their behavior changes completely. Think of neurotransmitters as the brain's postal service. They carry information from one neuron to another, creating the signals that form consciousness, memory, and awareness. But when you enter REM sleep, this postal service undergoes a radical shift. Some messengers stop delivering entirely. Others flood the system. This chemical reorganization is not a malfunction. It is deliberate architecture. The messenger you need to understand first is norepinephrine. This chemical keeps you alert. It sharpens focus. When you are awake and concentrating, norepinephrine is high. It tells your brain, pay attention. Remember this. This matters. But the moment you slip into REM sleep, norepinephrine drops to nearly zero. Your brain essentially goes silent on this signal. Why would your brain silence the chemical that creates memory? Here lies a profound truth. Your brain is not trying to remember your dreams. It is trying to forget them. This is not a limitation. This is intelligence. Your dream narrative, the story your sleeping mind creates, is not the point. The processing is the point. The emotional work is the point. The memory consolidation happening in the background is the point. The dream itself is merely the byproduct, the smoke from the fire of real work happening inside. Imagine you are processing a difficult emotion from yesterday. Perhaps someone hurt you. Perhaps you failed at something. During waking hours, your conscious mind tries to rationalize, defend, or suppress these feelings. But during REM sleep, your brain can work on this emotion without your rational mind interfering. It can feel it fully. It can connect it to other memories. It can integrate it into your larger sense of self. But if you remembered every detail of this emotional processing, you would wake up exhausted. You would replay the painful scenario all morning. Your conscious mind would get tangled in the narrative instead of benefiting from the healing. So norepinephrine stays low. The dream fades. You keep the emotional resolution. You lose the story. This is why people who wake up mid-dream remember it vividly. The moment you wake, norepinephrine surges back into your system. Your brain suddenly starts recording again. If you woke during REM, you caught the dream before the forgetting mechanism fully erased it. But most of the night, you sleep through the REM periods without waking. The dreams process and dissolve without ever reaching conscious memory. Another neurotransmitter shifts dramatically during REM sleep: acetylcholine. This chemical is crucial for learning and memory formation. During waking hours and deep sleep, acetylcholine levels are moderate, but during REM, acetylcholine spikes. Your brain becomes flooded with this learning signal. This is why REM sleep is so powerful for consolidating new skills, languages, and complex information. Yet acetylcholine alone cannot create lasting memory. Memory requires time, repetition, and the right chemical context. During REM, acetylcholine is high, but the brain regions responsible for long-term memory storage are partially offline. Your hippocampus, the brain's filing system, is less active during REM than during deep sleep. So information flows through your brain, gets processed and reorganized, but does not get permanently filed away in the same way it does during non-REM sleep. This is why dreams feel so real in the moment, yet so impossible to recall later. Your brain is processing information intensely, but it is not encoding it for long-term storage. The dream is a working memory. It is temporary. It serves its purpose and dissolves. Serotonin also changes dramatically. This neurotransmitter regulates mood, appetite, and emotional stability. During waking hours, serotonin is relatively steady. But during REM sleep, serotonin levels drop significantly. This might seem counterintuitive. Why would your brain reduce a chemical that promotes well-being? The answer reveals another layer of REM's intelligence. With serotonin low, your brain can access emotional memories and process them without the filtering that serotonin normally provides. Serotonin is your brain's emotional stabilizer. It keeps you optimistic, grounded, resilient. But sometimes you need to feel sadness fully. You need to grieve, you need to fear, you need to rage. During REM with serotonin low, your brain can move through these deeper emotional states. It can process them completely. And by morning, when serotonin rises again, you feel emotionally lighter, even if you do not remember why. This chemical dance is why you cannot simply decide to remember your dreams. Memory formation depends on specific neurotransmitter patterns. The pattern during REM is designed for processing, not for remembering. Your brain is not forgetting your dreams by accident. It is choosing not to remember them because the work is more important than the story. Consider this. If you remembered every dream vividly, your brain would be spending energy storing thousands of dream narratives. Your memory would become cluttered with dream fiction. Instead, your brain keeps what matters: the emotional integration, the memory consolidation, the problem-solving insights, and discards the narrative wrapper. This is why some mornings you wake with a feeling, a mood, or a sudden insight, but no dream memory. Something shifted inside you. Something was processed. Something was resolved. But the dream itself remains invisible. Your unconscious mind accomplished its work without requiring your conscious mind to witness it. The neurotransmitter system during REM sleep is not broken. It is optimized. It is designed to do deep work while protecting you from information overload. Every chemical shift serves a purpose. Every change in the system enables something essential. Your brain is working for you every single night, and it does not need you to remember to be effective. Now that you understand the chemical dance beneath your sleep, let's explore something even more fascinating: how your brain actually constructs those vivid dream narratives in the first place. Your mind doesn't simply receive random images during REM sleep. It actively builds stories. Complex, emotional, often bizarre stories that feel completely real while you're inside them. This process has a name in neuroscience: the activation synthesis hypothesis. And it reveals something profound about how your brain works, not just at night but during waking hours too. Imagine your brain as a master storyteller with access to a vast library of memories, fears, desires, and sensations. During REM sleep, this storyteller has no script to follow, no logical constraints to obey. Instead, it receives raw signals, fragments of activation firing across different regions. Your hippocampus activates, pulling memories from storage. Your amygdala ignites, flooding your mind with emotion. Your visual cortex blazes, creating imagery. Your motor cortex sparks, generating movement sensations. Yet your prefrontal cortex, the part that enforces logic and reason, remains quiet. What happens next is remarkable. Your brain takes all these scattered signals and weaves them into a coherent narrative. It synthesizes chaos into story. Think of it this way. During waking hours, your brain receives sensory input from the world and builds a story about what's happening around you. You see a friend's face, hear their voice, feel their presence. Your brain integrates all these signals into a unified experience. I'm talking to my friend. The process happens instantly and feels seamless. During REM sleep, the process reverses. Instead of receiving signals from the outside world, your brain generates signals from within. Your visual cortex fires, creating imagery. Your emotional centers surge, creating feeling. Your memory systems activate, pulling experiences from storage. And your brain does exactly what it always does. It synthesizes these internal signals into a coherent narrative. Except now there's no external reality to anchor the story, no physical laws to constrain it, no logical rules to enforce consistency. So the story becomes strange, impossible, dreamlike. You find yourself flying without wings, talking to people who died years ago, in places that shift and reshape, speaking words you don't remember choosing. Yet while the dream unfolds, it feels completely real. Your brain isn't lying to you. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do: create meaningful narratives from available information. The only difference is that the information is internal, emotional, and unfiltered by logic. This is where the brilliance emerges. Your brain isn't wasting energy on storytelling for entertainment. The narrative structure serves a purpose. By synthesizing fragmented signals into coherent stories, your brain is practicing something essential: meaning-making. During waking life, meaning-making is crucial. You encounter situations, integrate sensory data, and generate responses. Your survival depends on it. But during REM sleep, your brain practices this same skill in a safe environment. It takes emotional memories, fears, desires, unresolved conflicts, and rehearses how to process them. It weaves them into narratives that allow your emotional brain to work through complexity without the constraints of logic. Consider what happens when you experience something emotionally significant during the day. A conflict with someone you love, a moment of profound joy, an encounter with something frightening. These experiences don't simply file away into memory storage, they need processing. Your emotional brain needs to integrate them, understand them, prepare your future responses to similar situations. This is where dreams become therapy. The narrative your brain constructs during REM isn't random. It's thematically connected to your emotional life. You might dream about being chased, which your emotional brain is processing as a fear response. You might dream about flying, which relates to freedom or aspiration. You might dream about losing something precious, which connects to your anxiety about loss. The specific narrative doesn't matter. What matters is that your brain is working through the emotional content in a structured way. And here's the crucial insight. The fact that you forget the dream doesn't diminish its value. In fact, the forgetting is part of the design. Your brain needs to process the emotion, integrate the experience, and update your emotional responses. But it doesn't need you to remember the specific dream story. The narrative was the vehicle. The emotional processing was the destination. This is why you can wake from a dream you can't quite remember, yet feel its emotional residue. You might feel anxious or peaceful or wistful. You might feel like something important happened, even though you can't recall what. That emotional tone is the actual work your brain accomplished. The forgotten narrative was simply the mechanism. The activation synthesis hypothesis also explains why dreams feel so emotionally intense. During REM sleep, your emotional brain is fully activated while your logical brain is offline. There's nothing moderating the intensity. No rational voice saying this isn't real or this doesn't make sense. Your emotional systems are processing at full intensity, which is exactly why dreams can feel more vivid, more frightening, more joyful than waking experiences. Think about the last nightmare you remember. The fear felt absolutely real, didn't it? Your heart might have raced, your muscles might have tensed, yet nothing was actually threatening you. Your emotional brain was fully engaged in processing something, and your logical brain was offline. The intensity you experienced was your brain doing its job with complete focus. This is the gift of REM sleep. Your brain creates stories not to entertain you, but to process your emotional life in a space where logic can't interfere. It synthesizes chaos into narrative. It practices meaning-making. It rehearses emotional responses. And then it allows you to forget the story while keeping the emotional integration. You wake up changed even though you can't remember why. Your brain's emotional world operates on a different timeline than your waking mind. Right now, as you listen, countless emotional memories are stored throughout your brain, some recent, some from years ago. They exist in fragments, scattered across different regions waiting to be organized. This is where dreams become something far more profound than mere entertainment. They are your mind's therapy session, happening every single night without your conscious awareness. Think of emotions like water. When you experience something that stirs your feelings, a difficult conversation, a moment of joy, a loss, that emotional water spreads through your neural landscape. It touches many areas at once. Without processing, these emotional residues remain scattered, creating subtle tension in your mind. Dreams are the mechanism that gathers this scattered water and channels it into coherent flow. During REM sleep, your brain enters a state uniquely suited for emotional work. Your prefrontal cortex, the part that judges and analyzes, dims significantly. Meanwhile, your limbic system, the emotional core of your brain, blazes with activity. This is intentional. Your brain deliberately reduces logical interference so that pure emotional processing can occur without the constant commentary of judgment. Consider what happens when you try to process a difficult emotion while awake. Your logical mind immediately jumps in. It questions the emotion. It tells you that you shouldn't feel this way. It offers solutions. It creates narratives about why the feeling is wrong or right. This constant interference prevents genuine emotional resolution. Your brain knows this, so it waits for sleep. In dreams, your emotional brain works without this interference. A situation that troubled you during the day might appear in your dream in a completely different form. The specific details don't matter. What matters is that your brain is exploring the emotional landscape from multiple angles. It's asking, what does this feeling mean? How does it connect to other experiences? What can I learn from this? This emotional processing happens through the narratives your brain creates. Remember from earlier, your brain synthesizes random REM signals into stories. But now understand this more deeply. The story itself isn't the goal, the story is the vehicle. By creating a narrative, even a bizarre, fragmented one, your brain forces itself to explore emotional meaning. The act of narrative creation is the therapy. A dream about falling might not be about literal falling at all. It's your brain exploring a feeling of loss of control. A dream about being chased might be your mind processing something you're avoiding. A dream about a person from your past might be your brain working through unresolved emotional material connected to that relationship. The dream narrative is your brain's way of turning abstract emotion into something it can work with. What makes this process so effective is precisely that you forget the narrative. If you woke up and remembered every dream vividly, your conscious mind would immediately start analyzing and judging the dream content. You'd think, that dream was weird. That doesn't make sense. Why did I dream that? This conscious analysis would interrupt the deeper work that already happened. By forgetting the story while keeping the emotional resolution, your brain protects the therapy from interference. This is why people often report feeling better after a good night's sleep, even without remembering their dreams. The emotional weight you carried before sleep has been processed. Your brain has explored it from angles your waking mind couldn't access. The anxiety that felt pressing now feels more manageable. The sadness that felt overwhelming now feels integrated. You don't remember the dreams that did this work, but you feel the effects. Your brain is also doing something subtle during this emotional processing. It's connecting current emotions to older emotional memories. A situation today might trigger feelings connected to something that happened years ago. In dreams, your brain can explore these connections safely. It can understand how past experiences shape present feelings. It can integrate new emotional information into your existing emotional landscape. Think of your emotional memory like a vast library. Every feeling you've ever had is stored there. Every relationship, every loss, every joy, every fear. These memories don't exist in neat files. They overlap, they connect. They influence each other in ways your conscious mind never fully understands. Dreams are your brain's way of reorganizing this library. It's not just storing new emotional information. It's constantly updating how all the emotional information connects. This process becomes even more important during times of stress or change. When you're processing something significant, a loss, a transition, a difficult relationship, your brain needs more time to integrate this emotional material. You might find yourself dreaming more intensely during these periods, even though you still won't remember the dreams. Your brain is simply working harder at its emotional job. The beauty of this system is that it works whether you're aware of it or not. You don't need to understand it for it to happen. You don't need to remember your dreams for them to help you. Your brain has been doing this emotional work every night of your life. It's one of the reasons sleep is so essential. Without this nightly emotional processing, your mind would accumulate unresolved feelings. Stress would build, anxiety would deepen, your emotional resilience would weaken. As you continue listening, recognize that right now your brain is preparing for tonight's emotional work. Whatever feelings you're carrying, the small tensions, the unresolved moments, the subtle anxieties, your brain will process them tonight. It will explore them. It will integrate them. You won't remember the process. You'll simply wake up feeling slightly lighter, slightly clearer, slightly more at peace. This is the profound gift of dreaming. Not the strange narratives you sometimes catch before they fade. Not the surreal imagery, but the deep, invisible emotional work happening in the darkness. Your brain is a therapist that works while you sleep, asking your emotions the questions they need to explore, creating the conditions for genuine healing. While your brain processes emotions during sleep, something equally profound happens at the same time. Your mind is not just healing, it is learning. Every dream, every forgotten narrative, every fragmented image serves a deeper purpose. Your brain is consolidating memories, strengthening knowledge, and preparing your mind for tomorrow. This is memory consolidation. It sounds technical, but the reality is intimate and beautiful. Think of it this way. During the day, you encounter thousands of pieces of information. Some are important, most fade. But at night, your brain decides what stays and what goes. This decision happens during REM sleep, the very stage where you dream and forget. Here is the paradox. You forget the dream itself, yet your brain remembers everything it needed to learn. The narrative dissolves, the lesson remains. This is not a flaw in your design, it is the entire point. When you learn something new during the day, the memory first exists as a fragile trace. It lives in your hippocampus, a seahorse-shaped structure deep in your brain that acts like a temporary filing system. This trace is unstable. Without consolidation, it would vanish within days. But during REM sleep, something shifts. Your brain reactivates these memories. It strengthens them. It integrates them into your long-term knowledge. Scientists have observed this directly. When people learn a new skill, a language, an instrument, a dance move, the brain shows increased REM activity that night. The more complex the learning, the longer the REM stage extends. Your brain is literally spending more time processing what you need to remember, and you are completely unaware of this work. The dream itself becomes the vehicle for this learning. As your brain reactivates memories, it creates narratives around them. These stories help organize information. They connect new knowledge to old knowledge. They build associations. Then when you wake, you forget the dream, but retain the strengthened memory. The story was never meant to be remembered. It was only meant to facilitate the learning. Consider learning a new language. During the day, you encounter new words, new grammar, new sounds. These sit in your short-term memory, fragile and temporary. But that night, during REM sleep, your brain reactivates these words. It connects them to existing language knowledge. It strengthens the neural pathways. You might dream about speaking the language, about conversations, about meanings. The dream is your brain's way of rehearsing. Then you wake, remember nothing of the dream, yet find the words somehow easier to recall. This happens for everything you learn. New information about history, new facts, new concepts, all undergo this same invisible rehearsal. Your brain is not resting during sleep. It is working harder than it does during the day in some ways. It is sorting, organizing, strengthening, connecting. But there is something even more remarkable happening. Your brain is not just storing memories, it is extracting meaning. During REM sleep, your brain makes connections between distant pieces of information. It finds patterns you never consciously noticed. It creates insights. This is why people often wake with sudden clarity about a problem they were struggling with. The dream state allowed their brain to make novel associations that conscious, logical thinking could not achieve. The emotional processing from the previous stage, the healing work, directly supports this learning. When you process an emotional memory, you are not just feeling. You are integrating that emotion into your knowledge about yourself and the world. You are learning what that emotion means, how it connects to other experiences, how it shapes your understanding. The emotional work and the learning work are inseparable. Here is what makes this even more profound. You cannot force this process. You cannot decide to consolidate memories through willpower. You cannot think your way into learning during REM sleep. This learning only happens when you surrender to sleep. Only when you let go of consciousness does your brain access this deeper intelligence. Only in forgetting do you truly learn. This is why sleep deprivation is so damaging. When you skip REM sleep, you do not just feel tired. You lose the ability to consolidate new memories. You cannot learn effectively. Your mind becomes fragmented. The invisible work that should happen at night never occurs. You wake the next day with memories that never solidified, skills that never strengthened, insights that never emerged. Yet most people treat sleep as optional. They stay awake late, they wake early. They interrupt their REM cycles with stress and screens. They're essentially asking their brains to learn without the mechanism that makes learning possible. Then they wonder why they cannot focus, why they forget easily, why learning feels harder. Your brain is asking you for something simple. It is asking for time, time to process, time to consolidate, time to organize, time to integrate, time to learn in the way your brain is designed to learn. And it is asking you to trust that this learning happens in forgetting. Where are you listening from right now? And what time is it there? I am curious whether you are preparing for sleep or whether you are reflecting on sleep you have already experienced. Either way, know that tonight or the next night, your brain will perform this invisible work. It will consolidate everything you need to remember. It will extract meaning from experience. It will prepare your mind for tomorrow, and you will forget every moment of it. Yet you will wake more capable than you were before. This is the gift of REM sleep. Not just emotional healing, not just memory storage, but the transformation of experience into knowledge, the conversion of information into understanding, the silent, persistent work of becoming wiser simply by sleeping. You are conscious right now. You are aware of these words, aware of your breathing, aware of the space around you. But tonight, when you close your eyes and enter sleep, something extraordinary happens. Your consciousness does not simply disappear. It transforms. This is the paradox that neuroscience has been quietly unraveling for decades. You dream while asleep, yet you remain conscious in a completely different way. Not the waking consciousness you know, not the logical, analytical mind that questions and judges. Something else emerges, a consciousness that accepts impossible things as normal, a mind that watches events unfold without asking why. During REM sleep, your brain generates what researchers call a virtual reality. Your eyes move rapidly beneath closed lids. Your muscles are paralyzed, a protective mechanism so your body does not act out the dream. Your heart rate rises. Your breathing becomes irregular, and your consciousness, it awakens inside this inner world, fully engaged, completely convinced of its reality. Here is what makes this so strange. The part of your brain responsible for logic, for critical thinking, for saying this doesn't make sense, that part goes quiet. The prefrontal cortex, the region that grounds you in reality and time, dims significantly. Meanwhile, the emotional centers of your brain, the amygdala, the limbic system, burn with activity. You become a consciousness without judgment, experiencing pure emotion and narrative without the filter of reason. You are awake, but you are not conscious in the way you understand consciousness. You are conscious in a way that accepts dreams as real. This is why you can dream of flying and feel no fear. Why you can see a loved one who died years ago and feel only joy, not confusion. Why the dream world, however bizarre, feels completely normal while you are inside it. Your brain has temporarily reorganized itself. The systems that would normally say this is impossible have been turned down. The systems that say this matters emotionally have been turned up. And then you wake. The moment light enters your eyes, the moment your prefrontal cortex comes back online, the dream dissolves. Not because you were never conscious during it, not because it wasn't real to your brain, but because you are now conscious in a different way. The waking mind looks back at the dream mind and says, "That was strange, that made no sense." And in that moment, the memory begins to fade. This is not a flaw in your brain. This is a feature. Think about what would happen if you remembered every dream with perfect clarity. If you woke up and could replay the entire narrative, every detail, every emotion, every impossible image. Your waking mind would be confused all day. You would carry the emotional weight of multiple realities. The dream world and the waking world would blur together. Your ability to function in consensus reality, to agree with others about what is real, what is possible, would be compromised. Instead, your brain has evolved an elegant solution. You experience full consciousness in the dream. You feel everything intensely. Your emotions process deeply. Your mind explores possibilities and works through conflicts. But the moment you wake, the memory fades. You keep the emotional resolution. You keep the insight, you lose the story. This is why you can wake up feeling strangely calm after a troubled night, even though you remember nothing. Your brain processed the anxiety while you slept. The emotional work happened. The conscious experience was real, but the narrative, the dream itself, is gone. What is happening in this moment is profound. Your consciousness is not one unified thing. It is not a single light that is either on or off. It is a system with multiple modes. Waking consciousness is one mode. Dream consciousness is another. And they operate by completely different rules. During the dream, you are fully present, fully conscious, fully engaged. Your brain is not resting, it is working intensely. It is generating images, sounds, emotions, narratives. It is processing information. It is making connections. All of this while a different kind of consciousness experiences it. Then you wake. Your consciousness shifts modes. The dream fades not because it was less real to your brain, but because your brain has switched operating systems. The waking system has no access to the dream system's files. The memory is locked away. But the work has been done. This is why sleep is not simply rest. This is why you need to dream. Not just for memory consolidation, though that happens. Not just for emotional processing, though that happens too. But because consciousness itself needs these different modes. Your brain needs to experience reality without logic. It needs to feel without judgment. It needs to explore without consequence. And you need to forget. You need to wake into a world where dreams are vague and fading, where the impossible becomes unremarkable, where you can ground yourself in consensus reality. If you remembered everything, you would be lost between worlds. The next time you wake and remember only fragments of a dream, know this: you were fully conscious. You experienced something real. Your brain was working intensely, processing deeply, creating meaning. The fact that you cannot recall it is not a failure of memory. It is a success of design. Your consciousness is more vast than you realize. It contains worlds you will never fully remember. And perhaps that is exactly as it should be. Your forgotten dreams follow a pattern. They return night after night, carrying the same emotional threads even when the stories fade completely. This is not random. Your brain is speaking to you in a language older than words. Think of it this way. If you pay attention to the feeling when you wake, you'll notice something remarkable. The dream itself dissolves like morning mist, but the emotion remains vivid. You feel anxious. You feel safe. You feel confused. These feelings are not accidents. They are the message your brain is sending while logic sleeps. Neuroscience reveals that your dreams follow recurring themes because your brain is processing the same emotional conflicts repeatedly. When you face an unresolved situation in waking life, a relationship tension, a creative block, a fear you haven't named, your dreaming mind circles around it. Night after night, it approaches the problem from different angles, wearing different masks, creating different narratives. But the core emotional question remains the same. This is why people report having similar dreams, not identical dreams, similar ones. The scenario changes, the people change, the location shifts, yet the emotional core persists. You're being chased in one dream, in another you're falling, in a third you're searching for something you cannot name. The surface details differ, but your brain is asking the same question. How do I handle this fear? How do I process this loss? How do I integrate this change? Your brain is not being creative for entertainment. It is being intelligent. It is persistent. It refuses to let an unresolved emotional conflict rest until it finds a pathway through it. Consider what happens across multiple nights. Your first dream about a situation might be chaotic. Your emotions are raw. The narrative makes no logical sense because your logical mind is offline. But your emotional brain is working. It's gathering information, it's testing responses. It's exploring what this situation means to you on a deeper level. The second night, the dream might shift slightly. Perhaps you feel less overwhelmed. Perhaps you discover a new angle you hadn't considered. Your brain is learning through dreaming. It is consolidating not just facts, but emotional wisdom. It is building resilience through repeated exposure to the feeling in a safe space. By the third or fourth night, something subtle changes. The dream might resolve differently. You might find an exit in the nightmare. You might discover compassion in a conflict. Your brain has processed the emotional material enough that it begins moving toward integration. The recurring pattern is actually your brain's way of solving an emotional puzzle. This is why keeping a dream journal, even just noting the feeling upon waking, can be so powerful. You're not trying to remember the story, you're tracking the pattern. You're becoming aware of what your brain is working on, and awareness itself changes the process. The moment you notice the pattern, your conscious mind joins the work your dreaming mind has been doing alone. Some people report that once they recognize a recurring dream pattern and understand what emotional question it's asking, the dream transforms. It stops repeating the same way. This is not magic, this is integration. Your brain has moved the emotional conflict from the unconscious realm into awareness. It no longer needs to circle around it in dreams because you are now consciously engaging with it. Your forgotten dreams are also revealing something about your brain's priorities. The themes that return most frequently are the ones your brain deems most important for your survival and growth. A person who repeatedly dreams about being unprepared is processing anxiety about competence. A person who dreams of searching is processing a sense of loss or longing. A person who dreams of water is often processing emotions that feel overwhelming or fluid. These patterns are not universal symbols with fixed meanings. Your personal dream language is unique. Water in your dreams means something specific to your emotional history. Falling means something particular to your nervous system. The key is noticing your own patterns, not interpreting them through someone else's framework. Here is something remarkable. Your brain remembers these patterns even when you forget the dreams themselves. Studies show that people who don't remember their dreams still process emotional patterns through them. The work happens whether you're aware of it or not. Your brain is relentless in its commitment to emotional processing and integration. But there is a difference between unconscious processing and conscious awareness. When you notice the patterns, when you pause upon waking to feel what your dream left behind, you're bringing your conscious mind into partnership with your dreaming mind. You're saying to your brain, I see what you're working on, I'm paying attention, I'm ready to understand. This is where the real transformation begins, not in analyzing every detail of the dream, not in forcing interpretation, but in simple awareness, in noticing that you keep dreaming about the same emotional territory, in asking yourself, what is my brain trying to help me understand? What feeling keeps returning? What question keeps being asked? Your forgotten dreams are not wasted. They are not meaningless noise in the night. They are your brain's persistent, patient attempt to help you grow. They return because the work is important. They fade because your waking mind needs to function without the weight of every emotional processing session. But the effects remain. The integration happens. The wisdom settles into your being. This is the gift of dreaming, not the memory, not the story, but the invisible work of becoming more whole, more resilient, more integrated with yourself. Night after night, your brain is asking, who are you becoming? What do you need to process? How can I help you move forward? The answers arrive not as clear messages, but as shifts in how you feel, as new perspectives emerging without knowing why, as old fears losing their grip, as patterns dissolving because you finally understood what your dreaming mind was trying to teach you. There exists a threshold in sleep where something extraordinary becomes possible. You stand at the edge of two worlds, the dream realm and waking awareness, simultaneously present in both. This is lucid dreaming, and it is not fantasy. It is a measurable state where your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for self-awareness, reactivates while you remain in REM sleep. Most people believe lucid dreaming is rare. Neuroscience suggests otherwise. Studies show that nearly everyone experiences fleeting moments of lucidity during sleep, a sudden awareness that you are dreaming, a brief instant where you recognize the unreality of your surroundings. Then typically, you either wake or slip back into the dream's narrative pull. But something remarkable happens when you cultivate this awareness intentionally. Your brain begins to bridge the gap between conscious and unconscious processing. The patterns you have been circling, the emotional conflicts your mind has been processing through forgotten dreams, suddenly become visible. When you achieve lucidity, you are not escaping the dream. You are bringing light into it. Imagine standing in a room you have visited 1,000 times in your sleep. You never noticed the walls were the same color. You never questioned why the door opens onto an impossible landscape. But tonight, something shifts. You become aware. The room is still there, the landscape still impossible. Yet now you see it clearly. You understand what it represents. This is the bridge between worlds. When lucidity occurs, your brain activates specific neural pathways. The anterior prefrontal cortex, your seat of self-reflection, begins firing while your default mode network, which governs the dream's emotional narrative, remains engaged. You achieve a hybrid state. You think like your waking self, while feeling like your dreaming self. You gain agency without losing the dream's emotional truth. The practical implication is profound. Remember those recurring patterns from your dreams, the emotional conflicts your brain circles repeatedly. Lucid dreaming allows you to engage with them consciously. You can ask questions. You can explore the emotional landscape deliberately. You can accelerate the integration process that normally happens invisibly over weeks or months. But here is what makes this even more interesting. You do not need to achieve full lucidity to benefit from this bridge. Simple awareness of your dreaming patterns, the kind of awareness we discussed in the previous exploration, begins activating your prefrontal cortex even during sleep. Your brain starts to observe itself. The moment observation begins, change becomes possible. This is why keeping a dream journal transforms your sleep experience. You are not just recording forgotten dreams. You are training your brain to notice patterns. You are creating a feedback loop between your waking and sleeping mind. Each morning, when you write what you remember, you are essentially saying to your brain, "I am paying attention to this work you do at night. I am witnessing it." Your brain responds. Over time, you remember more dreams. You notice recurring themes faster. You begin to recognize the moment you are dreaming while still in the dream. The bridge strengthens. There is also a neurochemical dimension to this. During lucid dreaming, your brain releases different neurotransmitters than during regular REM sleep. Norepinephrine increases, the chemical that sharpens attention and awareness. Acetylcholine remains high, maintaining the dream state. This chemical balance is unique. It does not occur naturally during waking consciousness or regular dreaming. It is a third state, a hybrid consciousness. What does this mean for you? It means your brain has the capacity to do something it rarely does: hold two truths simultaneously. You are dreaming and aware of dreaming. You are emotional and observant. You are lost in narrative and conscious of the narrative. This is a form of intelligence that your waking mind rarely accesses. Some researchers suggest that lucid dreaming accelerates emotional processing. When you engage consciously with a recurring dream pattern, you are not just observing it, you are integrating it more efficiently. The emotional work that normally takes months can compress into weeks. The insight that usually arrives gradually can crystallize in a single lucid moment. But there is a balance to maintain. Lucid dreaming is not about controlling your dreams or forcing them into rational patterns. That would defeat the purpose. Your unconscious mind speaks in symbols and emotions for a reason. The goal is not to override that language. It is to become bilingual, to understand both the symbol and its meaning, to hold the dream's emotional truth while also seeing its structure. This is why the bridge between worlds is so valuable. It is not about escaping your dreams or bending them to your will. It is about creating dialogue between your conscious and unconscious mind. Your waking self and your dreaming self begin to communicate. The patterns become visible. The emotional conflicts lose their grip because they are no longer invisible. As you continue to sleep tonight and all the nights ahead, your brain will continue its work. It will process your emotional conflicts. It will circle the recurring patterns. But now you understand what is happening. You know that awareness itself changes the process. Even without achieving lucidity, simply knowing that your dreams follow patterns, simply recognizing that your brain is working toward integration, this knowledge itself activates the bridge. Your unconscious mind is listening. It responds to your attention. The moment you begin to witness your own dreams, even if you only remember fragments, your brain begins to work differently. The prefrontal cortex activates slightly earlier. The integration accelerates. You move closer to the moment when you will find yourself standing in that impossible landscape, suddenly aware that you are dreaming, able to explore it with both consciousness and emotion intact. The bridge is always there. It simply waits for your awareness to cross it. When you consistently ignore your dreams, something shifts in your body, not metaphorically, biologically. Sleep deprivation and dream suppression are not the same thing, yet they produce overlapping consequences. You can sleep 8 hours and still be dream deprived if your REM cycles are interrupted. Your brain notices. Your entire system notices. Let's explore what happens when dreams are stolen from you, not by insomnia, but by the modern world's relentless demand for wakefulness. Your REM sleep follows a rhythm. In a typical night, you enter REM roughly every 90 minutes, with longer and more intense REM periods toward morning. The first REM cycle might last only 10 minutes. By your final cycles, before waking, REM can stretch to 40 or 50 minutes. This isn't random. Your brain allocates more time to emotional processing as the night deepens, as if saving the most important work for last. When this rhythm breaks, the consequences accumulate quietly at first. Studies show that people who experience chronic REM deprivation, whether from sleep disorders, certain medications, or simply waking before final REM cycles, report increased irritability within days, not exhaustion, irritability. Your emotional regulation system depends on that nightly processing. Without it, small frustrations feel enormous. A minor inconvenience triggers disproportionate anger. You become reactive rather than responsive. This happens because your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for emotional regulation, relies on the consolidation work completed during REM sleep. When dreams are stolen, this integration never happens. Emotional conflicts remain unresolved in your limbic system, your ancient brain. They accumulate like unprocessed mail, each new day adding more letters to an already overflowing inbox. After a week of dream deprivation, something deeper emerges. Memory becomes fragmented. Not just dream memory, your waking memory weakens too. You forget conversations. You lose the thread of tasks. Your brain struggles to weave new experiences into your existing knowledge because the consolidation process that happens during REM never completed. Your hippocampus, the region that converts short-term experiences into long-term memories, depends on REM sleep to do its work. During REM, your brain replays the day's events in fast forward, extracting meaning and integrating new information into existing networks. Without this replay, new memories remain isolated and fragile, but there is something more profound happening. When REM sleep is chronically suppressed, your sense of self begins to dissolve. Not dramatically, subtly. You lose narrative coherence. Your life feels disconnected. Events don't seem to flow together anymore. You feel like you're watching your own existence from outside, rather than living it from within. This happens because dreams are not just about processing emotions or consolidating memories. They are about maintaining your sense of continuity. Your brain uses dreams to weave disparate experiences into a coherent story. Without this weaving, you become fragmented. Research on dream deprivation shows increased risk of anxiety and depression. But the causality is worth understanding. It is not simply that depression causes poor sleep. Poor REM sleep actively prevents the emotional integration that protects against depression. Your brain cannot process existential concerns, cannot resolve conflicts with others, cannot make sense of loss or change without REM sleep. The immune system also suffers. Your body's ability to fight infection depends on sleep quality, particularly REM sleep. During REM, your brain releases cytokines that support immune function. When REM is stolen, your immune response weakens. You get sick more easily, you recover more slowly. And then there is creativity. The connection between REM sleep and creative problem solving is well documented. Your brain makes novel connections during dreams, links disparate ideas in unexpected ways. When REM is suppressed, you become trapped in habitual thinking. Solutions that require lateral thinking become inaccessible. You feel stuck. But here is what matters most. All of this is reversible. The moment you restore healthy REM sleep, your system begins recovering. Within 3 nights of normal sleep, emotional regulation improves noticeably. Within a week, memory consolidation accelerates. Within 2 weeks, your sense of narrative coherence returns. Your life begins to feel connected again. This is why protecting your REM sleep is not a luxury. It is essential maintenance. You cannot think your way out of dream deprivation. You cannot meditate it away. Your brain needs the specific neurochemical environment of REM sleep. You need the altered consciousness where logic dissolves and emotional truth becomes primary. You need the forgetting that allows integration. The modern world pressures you to stay awake, to optimize, to produce. Sleep is treated as lost time. Dreams are treated as meaningless noise. But your brain knows better. Your body knows better. Every night, if allowed, your system attempts to do the work that keeps you whole. Sleep deprivation is a slow erosion of your emotional, cognitive, and physical resilience. Dream deprivation is the specific theft of your brain's ability to integrate experience into wisdom. When you honor your sleep, when you allow full REM cycles to complete, you are not being lazy. You are allowing your brain to do the work that no conscious effort can replace. You are choosing coherence over fragmentation, integration over isolation, wisdom over mere information. The cost of stolen dreams is paid in irritability, memory loss, emotional fragmentation, and disconnection from your own life. The benefit of protected dreams is the quiet knowledge that your brain is working to keep you whole every single night. Your ancestors understood something your modern mind has forgotten. Across every continent, in every era, cultures treated dreams not as random noise but as messages from the invisible world. The ancient Egyptians built temples dedicated to dream interpretation. Aboriginal peoples navigated by dream time. Indigenous healers diagnosed illness through nocturnal visions. They were not superstitious. They were observing something real. What fascinates neuroscience today is this: those ancient cultures were accessing genuine wisdom about the mind's nocturnal intelligence. They simply lacked the vocabulary to explain it scientifically. Now we can bridge that gap. Your brain during REM sleep operates in a state that ancient peoples recognized as sacred. Modern neurology confirms it is extraordinary. When you dream, your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logic, time awareness, and self-criticism, goes quiet. Simultaneously, your limbic system, which processes emotion and memory integration, becomes hyperactive. This is not a malfunction. This is architecture. Your brain deliberately silences the judge so the healer can work. Ancient traditions called this the realm of soul. Neuroscience calls it the default mode network in heightened activation. Both are describing the same phenomenon, a state where your rational mind steps aside and your deeper intelligence emerges. In that space, symbolic processing happens. Emotional wounds find resolution. Patterns integrate. This is why every culture, independently, developed rituals around dreams. The Senoi people of Malaysia taught children to face nightmares directly, to negotiate with dream characters, to transform fear into wisdom. They reported almost no mental illness. Coincidence? No. They were training their conscious minds to cooperate with REM processing. They were accelerating integration. Modern trauma therapy now uses similar techniques. Imagery rehearsal therapy, for instance, which essentially teaches your waking mind to dialogue with your dreaming mind. What changed in the modern world was not the brain. The brain still dreams every 90 minutes. What changed was attention. Industrial societies taught you to dismiss dreams as meaningless. Schools never mentioned them. Parents said, it was just a dream. Medicine separated sleep into a category of non-productivity. Your culture convinced you that the 8 hours your brain spends in REM integration was somehow less important than the 16 hours of waking activity. This was a collective forgetting, and it came with costs. When you ignore your dreams, you ignore your brain's primary method of emotional regulation. You silence the feedback system that tells you when something inside needs attention. You lose access to the symbolic language your unconscious mind uses to communicate. Ancient peoples understood this. They knew that dreams were not entertainment. They were diagnostic. A nightmare was not a curse. It was information. Consider the hunter who dreams repeatedly of being chased. In an ancient culture, this dream would be brought to an elder. the elder would help the dreamer explore what is pursuing him in waking life. Fear of failure, conflict with a rival, unresolved grief. The dream is not creating the problem, it is revealing it. The unconscious mind is saying, notice this, process this, integrate this. Your modern brain is doing the same work every single night. But because you have been trained to forget, you never receive the message. You never integrate the content. So the dream cycles again and again and again. This is why people report the same nightmare recurring. The unconscious mind is persistent. It will keep sending the signal until the waking mind finally listens. This is where ancient wisdom and modern neuroscience converge. Both systems, the traditional and the scientific, are describing the same truth. Your dreams are your brain's way of maintaining psychological coherence. They are not luxury. They are not entertainment. They are essential maintenance that happens while you sleep. What changes when you begin to honor this process? When you start remembering your dreams, writing them down, reflecting on them, you are essentially saying to your unconscious mind, I am listening. I value your messages. I trust your intelligence. The effect is profound. People report increased creativity, better emotional regulation, clearer intuition, faster healing from trauma. This is not mystical, this is neuroscience. When you pay attention to dreams, you strengthen the neural pathways between your conscious and unconscious mind. You develop what researchers call metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe your own mind observing itself. This is the same state that ancient meditators cultivated. It is the same state that modern contemplatives develop. It is a skill. And like any skill, it develops through practice. Your ancestors knew this. They built entire cultures around dream practice, vision quests, dream circles, ritual interpretation. They understood that the person who remembers their dreams, who reflects on them, who integrates their messages, is more whole, more creative, more resilient, more connected to their own inner wisdom. Now you know why. Your brain is not creating random images during REM sleep. It is conducting essential psychological work. It is processing emotion, consolidating memory, integrating experience, healing wounds. When you remember your dreams, you accelerate that work. When you reflect on them, you deepen it. When you honor them, you activate a part of your mind that modern culture has trained you to ignore. The bridge between ancient wisdom and modern neuroscience is not a metaphor. It is a neural pathway, and that pathway is waiting for you. Every night, in your dreams, your mind is speaking to you every single night. The question is, are you listening? We have explored how dreams shape your emotional world, how they process what your conscious mind cannot hold, and how ancient wisdom already knew what modern neuroscience now confirms. But knowledge alone changes nothing. The real transformation happens when you begin to reclaim what your brain creates during those hidden hours. The forgetting of dreams is not a failure. It is, in fact, a design feature. Your brain prioritizes survival over memory during sleep. When you wake, a chemical called norepinephrine, essential for forming new memories, drops dramatically. Your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for logical thought and memory encoding, quiets down. Meanwhile, your emotional brain remains fully alive. This is why dreams feel vivid in the moment, yet dissolve like morning mist. But here is what neuroscience has discovered. This forgetting is not permanent. It is reversible. The moment you wake, you have approximately 10 seconds before your dream begins to fade. This window is critical. The first technique is deceptively simple. Do not move. Stay still in bed. Keep your eyes closed for those first few breaths after waking. Let your mind linger in the dream space before pulling yourself into the waking world. This brief pause allows your memory systems to consolidate what just occurred. Many people who believe they never dream find that this single practice reveals dreams they did not know existed. The second approach involves intention. Before sleep, repeat a gentle phrase to yourself, not as a command, but as an invitation. Something like, "Tonight I will remember my dreams. When I wake, my dreams will be clear." This is not wishful thinking. This is priming your brain's attention systems. Your reticular activating system, the neural network that filters what matters, begins to prioritize dream recall. You are essentially telling your brain, "This is important to me." Your unconscious listens. Keep a notebook beside your bed. The moment you wake, write anything you remember. Even fragments, a color, a feeling, a single word. Do not wait for complete narratives. Your brain works in associations. One remembered detail triggers others. Writing also signals to your brain that dreams have value. Over time, your recall deepens. People who practice this for just 2 weeks often report remembering multiple dreams per night. There is another layer to this practice. Your dreams are not random noise. They are your brain's attempt to solve problems, integrate emotions, and prepare you for what lies ahead. When you begin remembering them, you gain access to this intelligence. A recurring dream is not a glitch. It is your unconscious mind insisting on something your conscious mind has overlooked. A nightmare is not a punishment. It is your brain rehearsing how to survive a threat, processing fear in the safety of sleep. This is where the real work begins. Once you remember your dreams, the next step is listening to them, not analyzing them like a puzzle to solve, listening like you would listen to a friend sharing something vulnerable. What emotions linger after you wake? What symbols appear again and again? Your brain speaks in the language of metaphor and emotion, not logic. A dream about falling might not mean you are afraid of heights. It might mean you are releasing control over something. A dream about being chased might not predict danger. It might reveal what part of yourself you are running from. The neuroscience here is profound. When you engage consciously with your dreams, you strengthen the connections between your prefrontal cortex and your limbic system. You are building a bridge between rational thought and emotional wisdom. This is not therapy. This is integration. You are teaching your conscious mind to speak the language your unconscious mind has been using all along. Some nights, you will remember nothing. This is fine. Your brain is still working. REM sleep is still happening. Dreams are still occurring. The forgetting does not erase the benefit. But on the nights when you do remember, when you pause and listen, something shifts. You begin to trust your inner world. You realize that your mind is not separate from you. It is you, working in a different mode, speaking in a different language, pursuing your wholeness while you rest. This is the gift of reclaiming your dreams, not to control them, not to interpret them perfectly, but to acknowledge them, to honor the intelligence that works within you, to recognize that sleep is not absence, it is presence in a different form. Your dreams are always there, every night without fail. The question is not whether you dream. The question is whether you are willing to remember, whether you are willing to listen to what your own mind is trying to tell you. The practice is gentle, the results are profound, and they begin tonight with a simple choice: to stay still for 10 seconds when you wake and to listen. Right now, in this moment, your brain is resting. And yet, even in stillness, something extraordinary continues to unfold. Throughout this journey, we have explored the invisible landscape of your sleeping mind. We have learned that every single night, without exception, your brain enters a sacred rhythm. A 90-minute cycle repeats itself again and again, weaving dreams through the darkness. Most people believe they do not dream. This belief is gentle, but it is incomplete. The truth is far more beautiful. You dream every night. Your unconscious mind never stops working. It processes, it heals, it creates, it remembers. We discovered that REM sleep is not a luxury. It is not something your brain does when it has nothing better to do. REM sleep is essential maintenance. When you are deprived of it, something breaks. Your emotions become fragile. Your memory fragments. Your creativity dims. Your immune system weakens. But here is the profound part. These effects reverse. Within days of returning to healthy sleep, your brain recovers. This tells us something vital. Your brain is resilient. It knows how to heal itself if you let it. We also learned that ancient cultures understood something modern science is only now confirming. Dreams are not random noise. They are not your brain's garbage disposal. Dreams are intelligent conversations between your conscious and unconscious mind. When you honor them, when you listen to them, something shifts inside you. Emotional wounds begin to integrate, patterns become visible, wisdom emerges, and in our most recent exploration, we found that dream recall is not a gift you either have or do not have. It is a skill, a reversible skill. 3 simple practices can awaken this ability within you. Staying still upon waking, setting intention before sleep, keeping a journal. These are not complicated rituals. They are invitations to listen to your own mind. Now, as we reach this final moment together, let us pause and reflect on what this all means. Your brain is working right now. Even as you listen to these words, neural networks are firing. Memories are being consolidated. Emotions are being processed, and tonight, when you close your eyes, this work will continue. Your brain will enter REM sleep. Dreams will flow through your mind like rivers of light. And whether you remember them or not, something essential will happen. Your brain will be healing itself. This is the infinite night. This is the hidden intelligence that lives inside you. For most of human history, people feared the darkness. They feared sleep. They feared dreams. But modern neuroscience reveals something different. Sleep is not the absence of life. It is the deepest form of life. It is where your brain does its most important work. It is where you become whole. Think about this. You spend roughly 1/3 of your life sleeping. That is not wasted time. That is not lost time. That is time invested in your own survival, your own healing, your own growth. Your brain knows this. Your unconscious mind knows this. It works tirelessly night after night, asking and answering the deepest questions of your existence. Every dream you have, whether remembered or forgotten, is a gift. It is your brain's way of saying, I am here, I am working, I am taking care of you. Even when you are not aware of it, even when you cannot remember it, this work is happening. This is the infinite night. This is the miracle that occurs inside you every single time you close your eyes. And here is something to carry with you. You can strengthen this connection. You can remember more. You can listen more deeply. You can honor the wisdom that your unconscious mind is trying to share with you. Not through force, not through effort, but through gentle intention, through stillness, through the simple act of paying attention. The practices we explored are not burdensome. They are not additional tasks to add to your already full life. They are invitations to slow down, to listen, to trust your own mind. When you stay still upon waking, you are saying, I am listening. When you set intention before sleep, you are saying, I want to understand myself more deeply. When you keep a journal, you are saying, my dreams matter. And they do. They absolutely do. Your brain is not separate from you. Your unconscious mind is not foreign territory. These are parts of you, parts that are always working, always caring, always trying to help you become more whole. Dreams are the language through which this work is expressed. And when you learn to listen to this language, something profound shifts. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to understand yourself more. You begin to heal. As you move forward from this moment, remember this: tonight you will dream. Tomorrow night, you will dream again. And the night after that. This will continue for the rest of your life. Your brain will never stop this sacred work. It will never stop trying to integrate your experiences, to process your emotions, to create meaning from the chaos of living. You are not alone in the darkness. Your brain is with you. Your unconscious mind is with you. They are your allies. They are your healers. They are the infinite intelligence that lives inside your own skull. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the night, for exploring the hidden work of your sleeping mind, for learning to honor the dreams you forget, for understanding that you are far more complex, far more intelligent, far more capable of healing than you might have believed. If this experience has brought you peace, if these explorations have sparked something inside you, please give this video a like. Subscribe to Relaxing Science so that we can journey together again. Share your thoughts below. Tell us, have you begun to remember your dreams? What have you discovered about yourself in the darkness? The infinite night awaits you, and your brain is ready, always working, always loving you in the only way it knows how. Sleep well tonight, dream deeply, and remember, you are never truly alone in the darkness. Your mind is there, healing, growing, becoming.